So in this video, I want to look at the hooks and descenders and tails, all of these little bits that get thrown onto consonants to give us a richer set of consonants to represent sounds in the IPA. So there's a whole lot of them here, but there's two or three really straightforward patterns that we can use. So let's flip over to the symbols here. And what do we have here? We have let's take this row here, the ones with the hook, I'm going to call it, the right curving ascending element up above. Now, all 5 of these characters are implosives. So that right tending hook above indicates implosive. And now implosives have this very unique sound to them, the ba, da. It's kind of a swallowing sound to it, subjectively in my mind. And so I think of that right hook as sort of something that's diving down the throat, if that helps you. Back to the table. The other big series here is the ones with a right leaning downward portion, a right leaning descender or tail. And this series is all from the same column in the pulmonic consonant chart. These are all retroflex consonants. And in fact, these are all of the retroflex consonants. Every retroflex consonant is represented with basically an alveolar character with a descending tail added to it. Okay. Probably the hardest two here are the T, which looks very much like the alveolar T, just has a descender. So if you see it in isolation, you might not be able to tell the difference. But if you see it in a transcription with other characters, it's obvious that this is a descending tail, and this just sits on the regular baseline of the other characters. And the other is the L, which is, it's sort of a stick, or a stick with a slight, like blade of a hockey stick there at the end. Depending on the font, that may be more or less prominent, but you know to watch out for it. The other descenders that we see that many of the palatal symbols have a left curling tail. So the y, the voiced plosive, the voiced implosive, the nasal, palatal nasal, all have right curling things. The voiced fricative, right curling all the way around, and then the approximant, the y sound. And I think of these as all, once you've got the y sound, that J character, it's the same component in all of these, just sort of grafted onto other symbols. So that's how I remember it, is I think of the palatal sound, that's the one palatal sound we have in English, that left curling tail just gets grafted into these other palatal sounds. And similarly for the velar sounds, this isn't all the velar sounds, but several of the velar sounds have the same tail as the lowercase g, right? It's a left curving, but it's curving from the right side of the character and then across to the left. We have that in the implosive. We have that in the velar nasal, starts on the right and it curves to the left, and kind of in the velar approximant that has that descender. It doesn't actually curve, that's a straight leg, but it is coming down the right side of the character. So that's hooks and tails and lefts and rights. It took me a long time to remember this, and I think comparing to the G and the J for those palatals and velars, and knowing that the retroflex ones are the ones that are going to the right, having starting with an R-ish sound, like the word retroflex. So hopefully those are handy mnemonics for that set of sounds.